Hello, Tiny. Hello, Tiny.
Live.
Come on. There we go. Is it doing it?
Swag. Cool. Everybody could see us.
Except for these peeps. What's going on? I feel like I'm just taking pictures of myself here. Aw, man. See, I'm supposed to be all pro at this shit. I don't think that's working. I don't think the IG Live is working.
I look at the problems with them and not you.
I agree.
Sure, we're gonna go with that.
Blame when in doubt, blame the men.
Blame tech.
Just blame everyone. Yeah, I blame tech. Yeah, I blame everybody
It's the
who's
tech, it's
not.
not us. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink, clinks everywhere.
We're doing this with wine today because we all felt like it. Because I felt like it, really. I was like, I want wine. Pono is here, but he's on the floor. He's trying really hard not to pee-pee on the rug. He's been doing better. Not perfectly, but better, which is all we can ask for. You're looking hot today.
So are you, baby.
I didn't put makeup on, don't lie
And
to
we're
me.
all wearing black. We
We
all
are.
got the memo.
We're twinning.
Yeah, triplet.
Well, actually, Chris, I was going to call and see if you were going to wear your overalls that you were wearing when I met you. And I was going to wear my black overalls too and be
Oh my
like,
God.
we're twinning.
Oh my! I'm not part of the overall club.
You need it.
Peeps, I
They're
can't.
great.
Yeah.
They're so comfy.
Okay, so what do you do?
Well, they don't ride down when you sit, so.
Yeah, so you can. Yeah,
My
that's
contractor was talking to me about Dale.
about overalls.
Because I was wearing them Saturday when he came over.
Oh,
He's like, they're so comfortable
this is.
because you can walk on the floor and get on your knees and, you know, you don't show, but well, he didn't say you
He
don't
didn't
show
say
butt
butt
crack,
crack.
but, you know, they don't droop.
Dale is Mickey's husband, and Mickey was one of my
That wasn't
first
it.
video clients, actually.
Well, that wasn't one of my accurate imitations either. He really doesn't sound like that. But yeah.
Well, sometimes he gives off the vibe that he could sound like that, though. I think that's the funny
That's just a
thing.
general contractor voice. No offense to contractors out there.
You guys should ask each other questions while I try to fix my
Um,
live feed on Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
I
Lisa.
haven't been so what do we do?
Yeah, so basically
This format.
the audience can ask us questions, and while we wait for them to ask us questions, we kind of like to talk about what it is that you do, what it is that your career is in, what your work passion is, and like what are you up to right now. Please do explain for the folks at home, who is Lisa, what does she do, and
Well, I'll give my really fast elevator pitch that I'm really known for, at least beginning.
You are
Yeah.
known for this. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
At least throughout the South Bay.
you are known for this.
Hey everyone, I'm Lisa Green Bolhuis with Bolhuis Design, and I build creative and kick-ass websites for small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's kind of what I do. I build websites for WordPress for small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can do other things too. Like I can do PowerPoint presentations, book covers, just general Photoshop work.
You did save our asses in
planners.
Photoshop with a
Yeah,
friend, with
she-
John Paulson.
she finessed
She
that
she
Photoshop.
finessed the shit out of that
Yeah,
Photoshop.
I like Photoshop.
Yeah.
I can do Illustrator too, but not as big my forte.
I feel like it is. I feel like you're very good at Illustrator.
Probably better than I give myself credit for. But
Yeah.
like when I saw what John Paulson could do,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's out of my league.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm
Well,
always comparing myself.
yeah,
so,
I know.
I'm
So
like
am I.
John Paulson
It's
out
bad.
of my league. I do logos for my
Mhm.
clients.
You are a kick-ass logo maker.
Yeah, and I do a lot of hand holding. Like
Mhm.
I get a lot of clients who are kind of, I want to say tech phobic or like afraid.
Talk
Yeah.
about
And
the
so,
hand holding. Wait,
you
I'm
know-
gonna get behind you guys so I can see you, and I'm not like monopolizing this whole conversation.
But you're
I'm
so-
like so straight
so
up in
lovely.
the camera. Oh,
And there,
thank
everybody,
you.
you get to see.
I've got
me.
seaweed in my hair and popcorn in my boobs today, everybody. It just is what it is. It kind of,
Corn.
yeah, I know. I'm saving it. Leave it alone. I'm saving
Saving
it for
snack.
later.
My
Well,
dad, when
My
he'd
dog
spill
and I like to
My
cuddle.
dad would, like, he was a sloppy eater and he spilled food and he'd just be something for later.
Yeah. Oh, he got peanut butter all over his fur this morning because I left him with his Kong in his little crate.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, cool, this will keep him company. I came home and he was like slathered in peanut butter. He's got like streaks in his fur stuck deep down in there. I was like, how did this even happen?
Does he have some still?
Yeah, he did. I ate it already.
Ooh.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, so kind of, you know, let's see, back on topic, eh? So,
Wait, what about the hand holding?
well, a lot of people, a lot of the clients I work with are starting their businesses. And so
Yeah.
they're very nervous and they kind of, are unsure of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are unsure because they may not have had a website before. So I try to walk them through the process and make sure they feel comfortable and taken care of. Rather, I do tell them what they need to supply me, which is your copy.
Yeah.
Get a copywriter, people. Don't try to write it yourself.
That
I didn't
part.
write most of my copy myself. I had the copywriter write it for me. I used to be a writer.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of.
You did used to write
It was
copy.
one of the things I did in my past life as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
But
Lisa and I relate to each other on that. In fact, I think
we
that's
had past lives.
yeah, but I think that's one of the ways that we actually work the best together is under really harsh deadlines
Our
where we're
first one.
producing each other. Yeah, where we're producing each other out on stuff.
Actually, our
Chocolate.
first yes. Oh God,
Thank you.
our first project was for a bakery client bakery machinery client
Mhm.
that Erin had, and she
Yeah.
pulled me in. I have my bra strap there, folks.
Uh,
And we had a crazy deadline, and you were at my house,
mhm. Yeah,
and we
were
were
in the
working late.
Mhm. And then drinking wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it went well though. That was a good one.
Yeah, the other one. There's been a number.
Mhm.
We stayed up late in my office space
Mhm.
at home. I work from home.
I feel like our niche is niche.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we end up doing, all three of us. It's like we're in travel. We're in this niche market in travel though. Or we do this, but we do this neat, we end up doing things for
Yeah.
stuff that's not mainstream, which is kind of cool. I like it.
I mostly deal with small business people, and I like them because, I'm a small business person.
Mm-hmm.
I relate. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just kind of how my business has grown. Also because, I learned about networking through that I should be networking. I didn't even do that until I started coaching groups.
Yeah.
And so that just has kind of led me to the small businesses. So
You and I met networking.
We did.
What? So
we were
what
in the
do you,
same networking group for
Yeah.
a long time.
what do you like about networking, and what do you find to be utterly exhausting or stupid about it? What's beneficial and what's not? Because we all have
Networking stories. I have a love-hate relationship with it because in spite of what people say, I am naturally introverted. So it's
So am
hard
I.
for me.
Yep.
And I have to push myself. And if I have a full day of networking, I go home and I just don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to anybody.
I've seen that. You come home,
Yes.
you have to take a
I'm
nap.
drained.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I've met some amazing people. I've met some amazing clients.
Mhm.
But sometimes you just meet people who are in the networking for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you set up a one-on-one, but all they want to do is sell you on their product, and then
Yeah.
they don't listen about you. And that's
Yeah.
the thing about networking is it's really got to be a give and take. It can't
Yeah.
be all about you.
Yeah.
And, I sometimes also get exhausted because for some reason I always end up in a leadership position with whatever networking group.
For
I'm in.
some reason.
For some reason.
It's not like I'm good at
Not
it or
to toot
anything.
my own horn.
I just end up there.
But I do, usually.
Yeah,
You do. I've been avoiding it for the past year or two.
That's true. You've given up a couple
I've
of
been
them.
very.
You have a piece of lint on your eyelash, and I'm
Take
my
it.
OCD-ness is bothering me. I just don't want it to get in your eye. And it was also really white. Thank you. Just gonna.
You got a knit.
Yeah, and the grays. She's getting the grays
Like
out.
little
It's
monkeys grooming
Yeah,
each other. Chris, do you want me to groom you too?
Yeah, should we help you?
What do I need to get?
You're fine.
Actually, you're good.
That's annoying.
I'm not
Damn it.
there.
Damn it.
Um,
I got it.
But yeah,
Get my
no.
life together.
So, it's I have my groups that I really like networking with, and they were the ones I feel comfortable with, and we pass and forth. The other thing about networking is I dislike people who are impatient with it,
I'm gonna turn this.
and
for
I
you
think,
a little more.
well, Erin, you and I have had this conversation many times,
Mhm.
and it's the people come into the networking group and they're selling high dollar stuff,
Right.
and they get pissy because they're not getting leads.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm considered a high dollar thing. you
Yeah.
know? My starting price is not,
Yeah.
but you're getting
So much.
so much for the money. That's
Do you do
Bolhuis
that?
design.
Do you do that?
I do
when you
that
talk,
and
you
I
do-
do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so cute. But yeah, so, it's the people who are like, it's not working. It's like, don't do it because you haven't been in there.
Yeah. For very long.
You're selling something that's super duper specific.
Yeah.
You just got to hold tight and it will happen.
I do feel like that about networking and chambers of commerce and
Chambers
all
are
of the
great.
groups, but it's like they're essential, and also you're there to build relationships. You're not there to make a sale. That's the hard thing about them. And I think a lot of people run in and they're like, oh, well, we'll see. If I get one client from this in the next year, then it makes up for it. And I'm all for that. I mean, like, obviously you have to budget your marketing costs.
Right.
But, it might, depending on, like you said, like if you're a low dollar item or a high dollar item, like it might be unrealistic to say that you're going to make up that cost in the first year. That just might not be, like a thing for you. So
well, I will say for me too, it forces me to get out of my comfort zone and it forces me to meet people, which isn't a bad thing.
yeah.
Right.
So if you're an introvert out there, not a bad thing to push yourself.
What do you think about category exclusive networking?
I
asked that like I don't know.
No, yeah.
I asked that question like
because
I don't
we met
know
in
the
category
answer.
exclusive.
Dun dun dun.
There's another thing, Mixed Phillies, my favorite networking group that I'm in, and it's because of the people I'm with. God, I love the people. They're like every Thursday, just love it. Only one I look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the
fine.
other ones heard that.
It's fine for the most. No offense to anybody not in my Thursday group who knows me who's watching, but I don't hate you. It's just I've been with these people for so long that we're somewhat codependent.
Love that.
Yeah. Or at least I think we are. They're probably like, I could do without you in a day, Lisa.
Yeah, they're like,
I don't know
Who,
what
Lisa,
the hell
who?
she's talking about, man. I look
Lisa?
forward to the Thursdays when she's out of town. Not very often, which there were more, but I mixed feelings.
I love that.
I have mixed feelings. Like I get the reason for it, but sometimes you'll run across a referral for something, and like you just know that those people aren't going to mesh or click, and so it's kind of like, do I give it and then have two people hate me?
yeah. Or do I give it to someone who I know it's going to click with, and then have everything work out well?
Exactly.
And save the other person for the next round. Yeah.
Exactly. And
That's the one thing I really disagree with about the category exclusive networking as well, is that it's just like you're required to refer only to, and it's like, no, that's not how this works. It's not how the small business
I will
works.
say, in general, those like the people in my category exclusive one are the ones I'm going to send people to because I know them, I'm established with them, and they're a great group of people. But every now and then, you're like. It may be I want to save them from the person I'm referring to.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there are people who are just, God bless them, they're crappy clients. And you don't want to burden. And it's taken me a long time to come to a place where I can say that
Yeah.
and feel like I'm able to say no.
Yeah.
And so I feel like by doing that pre-screening maybe for my category exclusive buddy, and generally it would be something higher price. If it's, like a product or something like that. It's definitely going to go to
Try it. See if you like
Definitely
it.
going to
Yeah.
But I'd say probably like 98% of the time, I'll send it to the person in my category exclusive. But
You know what really gets me about the category exclusive ones is that so two things. So number one, I feel like all the categories that are in there are always like the least popular. You know what I mean? Like it's always the same ones. It's always like an estate planner, an insurance thing, a life insurance thing.
they're the ones that fill up first, too.
Yeah.
Right.
And they fight for it. Like, they fight
Those
for a
spots,
position.
they really do. And in my mind, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, what am I?
Yeah.
Like, I'm 25. Like, I don't know a whole lot of people looking to redo their next.
and you're
and you
also
feel
like,
bad because you're not able to refer someone to
Yeah.
I feel that
The
too.
thing about it too, though, is you're supposed to be creating power partnerships.
Right.
So in theory, they're supposed to be pulling in people that would click with us. And like, that's how come Erin, you and I clicked, is because we had complementary services.
Yeah.
You did the branding and copywriting and videography. I did websites and producing.
And the logo design. And so we kind of built
worked.
in like,
So like, I know in our group, it's the real estate agent and the mortgage broker and the insurance agent.
Right.
They have like,
Always those.
but they work for the work.
financial planner too.
Right.
The financial planner, I find, God, I love the financial planner in our group. He's a great guy. I don't know anybody who's planning their finances.
I know.
And so I always feel bad because I never have leads for them.
Right.
Because I don't, being an introvert.
Like a financial plan, I had a peanut butter sandwich for breakfast. Like,
Yeah, I know.
They
Like,
might
I
argue,
know.
Chris, that you need to talk to us so you don't.
right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're like, but
I've also talked to financial planners too, though, who are like, "Oh, so of course you make over $250,000 a year, right? That's why you're coming here to sit
Like,
down and plan with
no.
us." And at the time, I was like, I feel so bad about my life. I just was like, okay, I'm gonna shrink into oblivion
that's the
now.
beauty of being a kept woman on my, part-time kept
yeah.
woman.
Mhm. She is. She's a kept woman.
So
It's
Lisa,
lovely. Somebody call me. I'm so
one thing I'm really interested to ask you about is, so what is your experience with social media in relation to your work? Because it's something that escapes our clients.
We're out
so
of line. We're out of
quickly.
line. Chris is out of line.
Did Erin put you up to? Okay.
No,
my
we haven't. We're
experience-
just for full disclosure before we go any further. We haven't talked at all about what we talk to
Yeah,
guests
we're-
about. We don't plan it. We don't look them up online. We don't do shiznit until they're in here. So just so you know,
Social media is something I recommend for my clients.
Yeah.
I will not handle it beyond doing graphics work for it
so she gives it to us.
so I give it to you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do whatever on the website the client wants for it.
Need a
I myself am
top
not
on
a
it.
social media person.
Right.
So,
Ooh, you get
which
the
I don't,
reps.
because we've met once before and I don't know if we talked about that or not, beyond both being from
You
Northern
will
California.
do graphic work.
I'll do
though.
graphic work
if it
for it.
coincides. You're not someone though that like really does the graphic work like just like, oh cool, I'll create a batch of social media graphics for you. You're more like you do banners for
I'll do banners so that
Yeah.
way you have a cohesive message.
Mhm.
Like my website is, you can tell it's the same company
It's
and the
brand
same person exactly
Mhm.
as is on this social media. And like if they ever wanted more, like those little daily quotes or whatever some people do, yeah, fine, I'll do those. And then no one's asked me for them. Ask me for them, people. I want to do them, but social media is not my thing. I feel like social media and search engine optimization.
Yeah.
You need search engine optimization.
Mhm.
But as I like to say, it's a strange little voodoo that
It
I feel
is.
is best handled by someone who's an expert in it.
For sure.
It is.
And so, like, I have a social media person I really enjoy working with. So if my clients don't know someone,
Mm-hmm.
like, I got a great guy who's reasonably priced that I can recommend.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll either go in do the work,
Oh,
or he'll
SEO
tell
guy,
me,
yeah.
he'll tell me what to do. And it's kind of, I feel the same way with social media, to answer your question.
Right.
Tell me what to do, I'll do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll help to get your brand consistent, but I myself will not do it because to me, it's a different animal.
You'll create the deliverables.
I agree.
The same,
Yeah.
and a lot of people get confused. They're
Mhm.
like, oh, I need a website. I mean, social media. Well, you do website, of course you do social
Like,
media. It's
no,
like, no, because
not the same thing.
it's a different thought process.
Yeah, completely.
The website is the place you want the social media to send you to.
Right.
And sometimes vice versa.
Mhm.
So that way the person gets a feel for you, knows you're a legitimate company. Like, that's part of the thing. And like really get into the nitty gritty of the services you offer is what the website's supposed to do. Whereas the social media is more like, hey, we can do this. Check it
Yeah.
out on our, website or whatever. At least that's how I view it. You guys might view it different.
So just talking about all this, it brings to mind like some of the stuff that you go through with clients. So, all right, because we have like, he can go into the shit and be like, this is why this and this and this and this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. We don't want to do this for you. Your idea is terrible. We don't say that to people, but that's what it means when we're like, the data does not support blah, blah, blah. It's because we looked at your suggestion and we're like, oh, and then he goes in and I'm like, hey, such and such a good idea. And he's like, no. And then when we come in, we say the data doesn't support that idea. But for you, you don't have that luxury. You just have to be like, sorry, I don't want to do that. Like, what do you,
okay, here's
so what do you do when you're like, that's a terrible idea. I know that's not going to work.
Luckily I've never had someone come to me with an idea that was so terrible. But my
Yeah.
thing is, I'm very judicious Like, I'll try most anything
Mm-hmm.
so that if I say I think this is crappy and it's not working, you know that I really mean it. And that
Like,
I'm
this
not
doesn't-
just saying it because. I mean,
This
I'm
is bad.
saying
This is
it
so bad.
because I really think it. And, and Erin knows, I will spend hours trying to make something work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Above and beyond what has actually been built
or asked for.
or asked for. Yes.
But, so I just, and it's, once again, my past life, I was a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to deal with clients and
Yeah.
figure out how to say, maybe we need to rethink that.
Yeah,
Maybe we can tweak it a little bit.
I feel you on that.
Or
Yeah.
even technology wise.
Yeah.
The other
Like,
the
this
other way to
isn't-
say no is, well, this may cost you more.
Yep.
That's a really good one if you're a marketer, website builder out there, if you don't want to do something. I'd say 7 times out of 10 that one works. Yeah.
Yeah.
This will cost you a little bit more.
I think
Yeah. I haven't thought about that until you just brought it up, about how it's very easy for me to sit here and be like, yeah, this isn't a good idea because A, B, and C. But I feel like people who don't come from a research background don't have that fallback, and they have to come up with those creative ways to
guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what producing kind of
Well,
to
I
some
feel
extent
like
is
that's-
guiding and help you.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing.
Captaining the ship, so to speak.
Okay. So when I meet with a client, I like to find out what their business is and really have them tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I have an idea. And then we'll talk about what website they have, if they have one, what website, what they want. And then we dig down to what it is they actually need. Because oftentimes those things, it turns out what they need isn't what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
And just figure out a way to kind of make them happy with all of it. So,
Yeah.
my mom would say, I don't believe you're that diplomatic, Lisa. But somehow, once I dig deep.
I do like the voice you give your mom. Did you talk about your mom?
What so can I ask you, so what is your favorite part about the work that you provide?
The favorite part that I do,
Yeah.
or the end result. Well, happy client. Because seriously, I know it's corny as hell, but when a client says they're happy
Yeah.
in a way and that they love what they have, that's
It's so
almost
nice.
better than money.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
I had a client, I did
It's
a
so
logo
great.
and just a one landing page website for it.
Yeah.
He sent me his new business card with his logo. I do business cards, but he did his own, but they're great. And he put on the note, thank you for making this so easy and seamless. And it's like, oh, you're welcome.
Right.
That's the best part. The other thing I like about what I do is I get to do different things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I just want to do admin shit,
Yeah.
which is bizarre. And sometimes it's,
Oh, it's
I
not.
love, doing the artwork and
Yeah.
other times. And sometimes I just like doing it all. So,
I
put
felt
on the
that way
headphones.
today. I
Put the
know.
headphones on, you get in your groove with whatever you're doing, and you just do it.
We've gotten to the point where somebody's editing a lot of the stuff now, but
Aww.
I know, but today I'll finish it. I still finish everything now.
I miss doing that at
I know, right? And today I got to just hole up in here for a couple of hours and just zero in on the editing. And I was like,
I know.
I don't want to do it for 10 hours a day anymore, like I used to, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. But it felt really good doing it for a little bit. It was
I
nice.
get that.
It was nice.
Totally get that. Yeah, I think the variety is my favorite thing, and it's kind of
cool.
like doing a puzzle too,
Yeah.
Right.
because you got to figure out how it's all going to fit together, and that's one of the reasons I do
Yeah.
things differently from other web people out there.
Mhm.
I think because I am a very word-oriented person,
Mhm.
I like to get the copy before I start.
Yeah, I agree.
Because to me, the words can then become more graphic. And instead of saying you need a headline here, or I can read it and I can kind of start laying it out and be, oh, they really need a headline here because none of this is going to, make it pop. So, and just kind of figure that puzzle out.
Mm-hmm. So
Sometimes I rearrange it.
that's true.
It just, I just,
sometimes you F
Some-
with my copy.
sometimes I change what
What's
they
our
wrote.
official rule here on saying the F word? We say shit. We say damn.
We don't have rules.
Do we
we're
have-
drinking. They know what they came here for.
Do we have rules about the F word?
If you do, you're going to have to go back and edit this out probably because
No,
I'm
you
sure
haven't
I
said it
haven't
yet.
said it yet.
No, I was just
What the
about
fuck
to
is
say.
wrong with me?
That's our rule about the F word.
Sorry, folks.
That's our rule about the F word. Yeah, you fuck with my copy all the time.
I feel like
For
everybody's got
It's
me all the
great
time.
though. It always looks better, and I'm like, wait, I thought I put that over here, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I did put that over there, and she
Yeah.
just messed with it, and I'm like, but it's better here. Or sometimes she'll pull a headline out of something that I wrote, and I'm like, that was an amazing sentence. Thank you for
welcome.
but yeah, but
Well, yeah. I don't know.
amazing's going a little far. Actually, it's
No, I really
it was
don't
good.
think it is.
it was
Erin.
super. As I say to Pono, that's super good. It was super good. Amazing might be stretching.
I don't think
Truth.
it is. Whatever.
You want to pick a question?
Agree or disagree? Oh, there's questions.
Yeah, there's new questions.
Oh, we're doing
Yeah.
those sorts of questions. Okay, I
Mhm.
thought they were coming from the audience, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Well, they're
so
coming. They usually come from the bowl.
they do come from the bowl. We got to refill the bowl, and this is the bowl refill.
Yeah, so we're
Nice.
just gonna take it out of the Ziploc bag.
Yeah, because we love
Your
Ziplocs.
turn.
Ooh,
So Lisa's gonna pick her first question, guys.
all right. Let's put the glasses on so we can read that.
Love that.
question.
I could hear my mom saying you need to do the same thing. I could hear her.
Yeah. Mm.
How do I make the most out of my Twitter?
All right. Maybe that one.
We'll put that back in the.
That sounds
rotation.
like one for the doctor, my
You
friend.
can answer that one. I don't.
I can answer
I
that.
don't
Answer,
really-
answer that one, Chris. Come on.
Yeah. So here's the
Folks
thing.
want to know. Don't put it back. We just pulled
Oh,
it
yeah.
out, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's you doing that. It's you doing that.
It
The whole
is.
time I'm like, how do we get double questions in the bowl? And then we pick them the next week. I'm like, that's what we got last week.
That is me. I forget to throw them away. Yeah. So the question is, how do we make use of like your Twitter, right? So the thing that people need to understand is Twitter is all about the updates. Twitter is about when you want to keep people updated on things of like your day to day that you can't make an image out of. You know what I mean? Because if you're on Instagram, for instance, your update is going to be a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture is going to pretty much tell you like everything. Like it's very different. So like let's give an example, right? Let's say I'm at an airport. I'm about to board the plane.
Mm-hmm.
If I take a picture of me walking into the terminal, you know what I mean? Kind of the story kind of plays out by itself. But on Twitter,
Visual
you got to
story.
sit here and be like, I'm waiting. I'm on the plane. I'm boarding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything is very update related, and where that becomes something
My life's
that's
not that interesting.
right. And so, like, what
Sorry,
you got to
that's
do as a
true.
business person is you got to use your Twitter to give those updates that pictures cannot express. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about all of Trump's tweets, think about how different they would be if they were pictures. You know what I mean? Like, Trump could not possibly take pictures to speak on all of the
I don't know. We might learn what confetti
caucasity that
is.
ensues. You know what I mean? And like, so when you're a business person, you really want to use your Twitter to number one, give updates constantly. You know what I mean? Number two, you want to engage with people more on Twitter than any other platform. And the reason is because it's all text. It should be all text. You know what I mean? You can give pictures,
Agreed.
you can post pictures, but it's really like one of those things where you're really on there to respond to people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when we think about like
Talk.
everybody's favorite, Wendy's Twitter, Arby's Twitter, McDonald's Twitter, like
Right.
everybody's really on there to respond to things that they said that people responded
Right.
to. You know what I mean? There's conversation, there's engaging the community, there's activation
Mm-hmm.
of conversation in those spaces. You know what I mean? And so if you are a business, the best way to make use of your Twitter is to activate your community and starting conversations as well as giving updates because everybody wants to know
Right.
something. You know what I mean?
So can I? Okay, I'm going to go on something that Erin knows I've talked about before.
Yes.
But now you're here too, so we get your perspective as well as a data guy
Yeah.
and just as another social media person. The balance of personal to professional on your professional account versus, you know, having a private account? Because your private account should be, you know, hey, I'm buff, here's my six pack.
Right.
But you should have, I
I
guess,
don't have one.
from what I've heard, little tidbits at least about personal
Yeah.
on social media. But like, what do you see as the ratio and balance of that?
Yeah. So the ratio and balance of personal to professional when it comes to social media is before we even get to, so it's all about tone
Right.
and what you established, right? So I'll give an example that we talk about in the Black community all the time about how when I give like fist bumps and things like that to my friend, to my Black friend, but handshake my white friend. That's kind of what it feels like to me when I talk to clients about it. I'm just kind of like, what precedent did you set for your audience to expect from you?
Okay.
What tone did you give them to expect from you? And are you keeping to that tone? You know what I mean? Because once you switch up a behavior in terms of your tone, everybody's going to be like, whoa, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, this guy kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know who this is. I don't know you be that way.
Disrupts the brand loyalty.
You know what I mean? And it does disrupt the brand image because it's all about like the tone you set, the voice you set. And then when you deviate from that, people are like, I don't know where we're going with this. You know what I mean? And that's what sets people off. That's what really turns like that's what ruins the brand image. You know what I mean? However, when it comes to personal things, you don't want to make it personal to you. You want to make it personal to your audience. You know what I mean?
They can relate to something. They can relate to you.
So I'll give you an example topic. Homelessness, right? I'm not homeless. I've never been homeless. I don't know people so much that have been homeless. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I can relate to.
Right.
But I know that there's something that others can relate to.
Right.
So I'm not speaking for myself from my own experiences, from my own, you know what I mean, from my own locus. I'm speaking on behalf of those other people who could probably relate more than I.
Okay.
And I have to adjust my tone to speak to those people specifically. You know what I mean? And that's when hashtag arrangement is important. That's when geotag locations are important. Because I need to use all of my tools to specify that I'm talking to these people and only these people, and I'm not talking to these people. You know what I mean? And so it is very much compartmentalizing your conversation styles, and it's all in the expectation of your tone and how you set that for your audience. You know what I mean? Because let's think about this. So let's think about like Arby's Twitter, right? Everybody's kind of like social perception is the joke that Arby's is kind of trash, but it's still around. You know what I mean?
I got food poisoning from Arby's last time.
Exactly.
That was a long time ago.
I forget there's an Arby's around the corner
really-
from me.
Oh,
Right.
really?
But
I don't.
There
I know
is
it's
one.
there. I really want to eat at it, but I can't. I haven't eaten there in years.
right. So let's think about how much public perception of Arby's would change if a large amount of what they posted was charitable things. You know what I mean? They'd be like,
no, they still give me food poisoning.
you know what I mean? They'd be like, the food is shitty, but they care. You know what I mean? But they have to set that precedent.
Is that really like a
Well,
good thing?
So I guess they could start by doing it incrementally, so that
Exactly.
Sue John, do you have anything to add to that?
I think like the simple rule of thumb that we always say is like no personal and professional or personal, right? But then, so the more complicated, right, when you get down to it is, but what if you're a small business? What if you're a solopreneur? What if you're, right? So my professional is my personal. Somebody asked us that at a leads thing one time. They were like,
That's why I'm asking. I still get that question to this day.
So then you got to figure out who's going to buy from you.
Right.
Right.
And also, so like if you're an insurance agent or you're a financial advisor or you're right, like it could go two ways. It could be all about industry and all about education and all about your, you know, what you can provide. Or it could be if you think that like your neighbor and your, you know, aunt's best friend's cousin are the ones who are going to buy from you, then yeah, you kind of do need to make them like you, honestly, like, you know, and your dog. So I think that like you gotta,
it's a balancing act.
Yeah. And also it's kind of to Chris's point, like, so I would just put it differently. Like, what story are you telling? What story have you been telling from the beginning?
Agree.
So you're kind of talking about, you know, and one of the quickest ways to get the engagement is to appeal to an emotion, if you want to break it down really scientifically,
Right.
because of a fight or flight impulse. So when you get, when you tell stories that really are from your own life, or stories that are relating to the audience, like that is something that they're going to follow, and that is something they're going to engage with, right?
Yep.
So it does depend on, if you've been telling this corporate story of, we're a small business, we have, this, but we have like under 100 employees type of a thing, then no, it's difficult to get personal. But if you're a life coach, then yeah, a lot of your personal life, you just have to figure out how to tell that story in a way that people are going to connect it on a professional level.
And this, people, is why you hire an SEO person, or
Correct.
a social media person instead of a web person to handle your social media.
Well, can't you just do it all for me?
No, because it's completely different. I mean, there is an element of storytelling to a website, of course, but it's a different type of storytelling, and it's not on a daily basis.
Right. And so Jillian has a question. She has an amazing question, actually.
Oh, no.
So thank you, Jillian, for your question.
Hey, Jill, what's up?
So she says, what kind of business would you recommend Twitter for or against? So because I'm the data guy, here's what I would suggest. So the businesses that make the best Twitter for me revolve around two things: the expectation of releases and the amount of time you anticipate to spend engaging in your community. Let me give an example.
Okay.
So I'm listening to SoundCloud, and they're talking about all these advertisements about Facebook groups. And like one of the groups that they had do an advertisement was about like Asian guys playing basketball. And they had like a Facebook group, and they went big. And now they have this big Asian basketball community in like this town, right?
Yeah.
That's somebody who can make a Twitter account for, because they're building a community. They're going to be giving updates about like, here's where we're going to be balling. Like, here are the teams. We can make some leagues and like things like that. I mean, like, I hope so.
People don't ball. A lot of people don't play basketball.
And so, you know what I mean?
Guys, what are we talking about?
So it's all about like them creating a community for themselves and engaging with it. But at the same time, they got to tell people like, here's where we're going to be. Right. These are the times we're going to be, here's what we can expect. Another thing is like music groups, obviously, or like nonprofits. Because nonprofits are always talking about, here are the awards we're going to give out. Here are the projects we're working on. Here are the, I want to say like charity events that we're going to be partaking in. Right. Here's who's sponsoring. You know what I mean? It's all about the release of information and the amount of time you anticipate to engage with the community that you're trying to form. You know what I mean? Okay. It's very difficult to do that if you're like a life coach, for example, because like you can build a community around life coaching, but you have to constantly give advice. You have to constantly find a way to say something new. And I think it's kind of like similar to church in the sense that like the Bible can only be so long, and you can only like remix it so many ways. You know what I mean? Before people start to really like connect it. And
don't bring religion into it.
Somebody send me a link to this Asian basketball community.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You don't ball out?
I don't believe it. We swim. We play the violin. We're really good at. Well, I can't do any of these things.
Violin, piano, yeah.
And you
I'm a bad Asian.
You're an amazing swimmer.
I can swim. I can't play the violin very well. I suck at the piano. I naturally suck at piano.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah, and golf and tennis and math.
Tennis.
What a bad Asian.
What a way to put stereotypes out of line.
I know, I'm a bad Asian.
I'm staying out of this
They're
conversation
true, though.
so I don't get in trouble.
Okay, that's a good idea. Most of Lisa's nieces and nephews are Asian, though.
Yeah, so what Jillian says in response is, many of my clients aren't updating often enough or consistently enough to have a Twitter. I'd expect more groups like food trucks and businesses that are rapid fire with relevant info. So to that, I would say to her, the reason why they're not being successful on Twitter is because if you're like, so let's take food trucks, for example. When we're dealing with food trucks, you got to tell people, here's what's on the menu, here's what I got today. And you also got to build anticipatory things as well as call to actions, as well as kind of the desperation of like, we might run out of things soon. So you need to get here quick. You know what I mean? So like,
But she's saying that they're not even updating.
right.
So it's not. So
Well,
like my
dude.
question is then like why aren't you update like that? You should loop that in as part of what you do.
Yeah.
They should pay you to update. No,
Mhm.
honestly, that's
Yeah.
for real. That's what we
Make
get
money off
paid
it.
to do. It's not even
Yeah.
like because consistency is real. That's 90% of the battle is the
can
consistency.
you can hire someone for data management
Mhm.
and definitely have that, but you also can hire someone or offer your services and say, hey, I'll update your Twitter every 12 hours. And you just come up with something. Shout out to my favorite food truck, Wacky Shrimp.
Oh
Greatest-
yeah,
Greatest logo on earth.
it is pretty cool.
They sit in the liquor store off
Yeah.
Aviation
I
or
do
on
like-
Aviation off of
I've never
Imperial
eaten
Highway.
shrimp.
We need to go there. Anyway,
She also
sorry.
says there is also a huge Asian basketball community, which I didn't know
I didn't
until
know that.
SoundCloud brought this to my
She's
attention.
Asian, so I believe her.
Yeah, I believe you.
Jillian and I are Hapa. We're
Ah.
Hapa brethren.
Oh my goodness.
Her dad is also Asian, and my dad is Asian, which doesn't happen a lot. So
Right.
yeah, it's usually the other way around.
Oh, my sister.
That's true. Your
My niece and
sisters-
nephew, they're
Yeah.
hopping through their dad.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
Yeah, but I have a niece who's hopping through her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like there's a lot of happening with you.
Oh man, my family is totally hopping. Oh man.
No, just no.
Ah, dude.
Just no.
I don't know if that was super funny because
He's
it was
laughing
so
enough
bad,
for the both of us.
or
He's laughing enough
it
for
was
all
so
of us.
bad that it's
He's very
just
amused
bad.
by his own joke. It's cool. I'm not.
All right,
gonna
any
lie.
more questions, dudes? Dudettes.
We're overtime. for
We're overtime.
sure.
That was an hour. Wow.
It's no, well, usually we try to go for about 20 to 30 minutes, but we're at
Oh, that's
41
it?
and a half right now.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
That's it. Oh man.
Yeah, it's very quick. We like
I think
to.
the time-
Engagement people.
The time I was in here before. Well, then again, I spent most of my time trying to make you break. So
That's true.
yeah, I'm that person. Well, this has been a joy. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. You know, we really appreciate you being here. We really
Ah.
appreciate everybody watching and
Mhm.
sending your
Yeah.
questions and
Mhm.
comments. And so we will see everybody next week when we have our new guest. Stay tuned. Keep watching our updates. You know what I mean? So we talking
Yeah.
about updates.
Your Twitter and your Instagram
Your
and your
Twitter and my
Facebook.
Instagram. And so thank you for everybody for coming. Have a wonderful evening. Drink as you will.
Cheers.
Ah.
At will.
At will.
Cheers.
Responsibly.
Whoa, I'm the only one with anything left in here. This
Yeah.
never happens.
I'm a lunch.
This never happens. Cheers, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks for letting me come, guys. That was